What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to SoleSavy. Thank you for joining me once again. I hope you're all doing well out there. Today we're taking a look at the Clot Air Max 1 Kiss of Death. Now this is going to be an in-depth review, so I'm going to let you know about all the details you need to know about with these, and trust me, there are a ton of details to cover on these, so let's go ahead and get into the review. Now if you've watched any of my reviews in the past, you know that I don't always cover the packaging on every single shoe that I review because let's face it, a lot of times it's the exact same packaging that we get on every shoe, but on these, this is no different than the shoe itself. There are a ton of details with the packaging here. So you've got this matte black box. Up on the top, you've got the glossy Nike logo. And then you've got this white label here that has this Air Max 1 branding on it that at first glance, I didn't really know what it said. It looked like it might have been some other Chinese characters that we see kind of strewn all over the rest of the packaging and the shoe itself. But on closer look, you can see that it actually just says Air Max 1. Along one of the longer edges of the box here, you've got a Clot logo. And then if you flip it over to the opposite side, you've got some more Chinese characters here. Now, opening up the box here, you get kind of your first hint at what the overall theme of the shoe is, which is reflexology. I'm no expert on reflexology, but kind of the basic idea is that your feet has a whole bunch of different pressure points, and each one of those pressure points, if you manipulate it, will affect a different part of your body. So you've got this whole list here. You've got the sinuses, you've got your ears, kidney, all these different places of the body that supposedly you can affect by manipulating those pressure points. And these all tie into the outsole of the shoe, which we're gonna go over in just a little bit. And then with the paper here, you do have a Clot logo that has kind of like this braided design on the outside. And this is the same design we're gonna see a little bit later on the shoe, on the heel of the shoe. And then last but not least, you also get a pair of spare red laces. All right, now taking a look at the shoe itself, there are a ton of details to cover here, so I'm gonna try and get through all of them as quick as I can, just so you guys get a really complete idea about how incredible this shoe really is. Now, the first thing to know about these is that these originally released all the way back in 2006, and we have not seen them since then, and they were super sought after back then, and it's been kind of like one of those grail Air Max 1s. And what I'm really excited about is that they got these really close to the originals from what I can tell. There's a couple main differences, and we'll get to those a little bit later, but just know that this is a highly sought after Air Max 1 from 2006, so it's awesome to see them again. Starting off toward the top of the shoe, you've got this crazy ostrich leather that goes around the outside of your ankle. Leading up to the front of the ankle area, you've got this white patch of leather with a green eyelet, as you can see. Now moving down to the mid portion of the shoe, you've got a patent leather Nike swoosh, and it's kind of stamped with this reptile texture. Moving to the heel of the shoe, you've got this red panel of 3M material, and embroidered straight into the 3M, you've got this orange Clot logo with this kind of like braid design. It's the same design that we saw a little bit earlier on the paper inside the box. The tongue on these is basically two pieces of leather that are sewn together. The outer layer that you see here is a red leather. It's kind of like a tumbled leather. And then on the inside of the shoe, you've got a smoother leather that's done in the same tan color that we see on the rest of the shoe. For the tag on the tongue, they use this pretty thick strip of suede. On the outside, as you can see, you've got a Volt colored Nike logo. And then on the back, a Clot logo done in that same Volt color. Now these come laced up with these waxy flat laces done in this tan color, but as I mentioned earlier, you can swap them out for the red pair. I do think the tan pair probably would look best though. Now the majority of the rest of the upper here is done in a tan suede. You've got some on the heel as well as in the midfoot and around the toe. And the suede here, I would say, is a pretty nice quality suede. It's definitely not the best that I've seen. It's kind of a suede that's a little bit rough to the touch, but I do think that it adds a nice layer of texture to the shoe, and you know I always appreciate that. And then the most standout feature of the entire upper is this clear plastic toe box. Now, this is a really, really cool feature just because you can completely change the look of the shoe by just wearing a different pair of socks. For me at this point, the only pairs of socks that I think I'm gonna be rocking with these are just plain white Nike socks. I think that if I had some red socks or maybe some orange socks or maybe even some like green socks that would match the rest of the green on the shoe, those might work pretty well. But for right now, I don't have any of those, so I'm just gonna stick to white, which I really appreciate that they have this strip of white leather up near the top of the shoe, because I think that that kind of like ties together with a white pair of socks. Otherwise, the white might kind of look misplaced if the only place that you saw it was on the toe. So I think that they were maybe thinking ahead about that issue, or maybe it's just a coincidence. But either way, I do think that white socks look really good with these. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some differences between these and the 2006 pair. I said a couple, but it's actually more than a couple. But with the upper here, really the only two differences are this heel back here the colors were actually swapped. So you had orange 3M with the red detailing, and I like the red with the orange detailing better. And then up on the toe with this plastic panel, on the old pair, there was no perforation, and that could definitely be a problem because these fog up pretty quickly, even with the perforation. It's not really bad, but you can definitely see some fog in there when you take your foot out of the shoe. So you've got perforation up here. You've actually even got some perforation on the inner side of the shoe as well to keep it nice and breathable. Now, the first thing that you're gonna notice if you take a look inside the shoe is that all of the padding and the lining that you're used to on Air Max 1s is completely gone. So your foot is right up against the backside of the leather and the suede and everything that you see on the outside of the shoe. Now, as you might expect, this does make a difference with sizing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but it definitely feels different on feet as well. And then the insoles on this shoe are absolutely insane. On the right side, you've got that same list that we saw on the inside of the box, telling you all the different parts of the body that you can affect by manipulating the pressure points on the bottom of your foot. On the heel, you've got a Nike logo. And then on the left shoe here, you've got all these Chinese characters. I'm not too sure what they mean. I don't read or speak Chinese, so I'm not sure. But you've also got a diagram of your leg, and then you've got a Clot logo on the heel on the left shoe. Now, there are more details about these that I want to talk about, but before I do that, if any part of this review so far has been helpful or entertaining, or you like the B-roll or the on-feet, whatever the case is, do me a huge favor and let me know by liking the video. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you can make your way back to the channel for more videos just like this one. Now, moving down to the midsole, you've got this super bright orange midsole, and I love how loud it is and how much it just pops. It also, I think, works really well with the other colors on the shoe. For some reason, the orange and the tan go together very well. And then, as always with Air Max 1s, you've got the visible air unit here in the heel. And for the airbag, they went with the same red color that you've got on the swoosh and on the heel of the shoe. Now, moving down to the outsole, this is another detail that's a little bit different than the 2006 pair. It is translucent like the old pair, but this graphic is a new detail, and I love what they did here. So you can see that you've got this foot design. So you're basically looking at the bottom of your foot, and then you've got numbers for each pressure point on here that correlates to the key that's on the inside of the box and also on the insole. That is such a cool way to just really tie together that whole reflexology theme that goes throughout the shoe. All right, let's talk about sizing on these. As I mentioned a minute ago, there is no padding or lining whatsoever on these, so that does affect sizing quite a bit. I'm personally a size 12 true to size. I went with an 11.5 here, and I think they fit great. Now, I know some people like to half size up on Air Max 1s as it is because they are on the snug side. So if that's you, if you normally size up, I would say go true to size and these will fit great. If you're somebody who typically goes true to size, just half size down, and I think those are gonna work for you too. Now, you might be wondering if the lack of padding and lining on the inside of the shoe affects comfort. I definitely would say that it affects it. It doesn't make it like a super uncomfortable shoe or anything like that, but I definitely think Air Max 1s with kind of traditional padding and lining on the inside of the shoe are more comfortable, but Air Max 1s to me are not a super comfortable shoe anyway. It was the first Air Max, so it's old technology. Not a super comfortable shoe. Now, I've got to give these a rating, but before I do, I got to shout out SoleSavy. If you guys haven't heard of SoleSavy before, it's an online community of sneakerheads, and it's for like real sneakerheads. If you're a reseller, this is not the group for you, but if you're somebody who actually genuinely loves sneakers, I'm gonna leave a link down below to SoleSavy. But they did a giveaway where on Air Max Day, you basically just posted a picture in your favorite Air Maxes, and then the community voted on their favorite picture. That's the photo that I posted, and the picture kind of went crazy. Tons of likes on Instagram. Nike ended up sharing the photo actually, and it won me this pair of Air Max 1s. And I am super stoked not only to have these, but to have them for free. I can't thank SoleSavy enough and thank all the people in SoleSavy in the community who voted for my photo. Okay, all right, let's get to it. So the final score on these, 1 out of 10, I'm gonna go like a 9.5 on these. These are super sick. The details on these are super crazy. They look really good on feet. It's just a classic Air Max 1. It's one of the classics from the vault, and I'm really glad that they brought them back. Obviously, as we talked about, there are some trade-offs just because of the material used on these, but I'll take those trade-offs any day if this is the final result. I'm a huge fan of these. I would definitely recommend picking these up if you're even on the fence. Right now, they're barely going for over retail. So check down in the description. I've got links to StockX and GOAT if you want to pick them up. They're just a few dollars over retail, so definitely an attainable shoe. All right, guys, until next time, make sure to wear your kicks. Later.